This video is on the adaptations of the small intestine for absorption. The small intestine is part of the alimentary canal and is situated between the stomach and the large intestine or colon. The first part of the small intestine is called the duodenum, and this is where the chemical digestion of food molecules is completed. The last part of the small intestine is known as the ileum, and its main function is to absorb these digested food molecules into the blood. From the small intestine, these food molecules can be transported to the cells. The ileum has several absorption adaptations, including its long length, a highly folded surface, and the presence of villi. All of these adaptations will hugely increase the surface area of the ileum, increasing the absorption rate. Villi are tiny finger-like projections found on the surface of the small intestine. Their structure facilitates the absorption of nutrients into the blood. They contain many microvilli on their surface to further increase the surface area, which in turn increases the absorption rate of nutrients. The wall of the villus is only 1 cell thick, which means that there is only a short distance for absorption of nutrients by diffusion and active transport. Each villus is well supplied with a network of capillaries to transport substances such as glucose and amino acids away in the blood. A small lymphatic vessel, known as a lacteal, runs through the center of each villus, and it is responsible for the transport of fatty acids and glycerol in the lymph. Make sure that you are able to describe how the structure of a villus is related to its function, as this is a popular exam question. Let's now look at a few exam-style questions that you may encounter. The first question states that the epithelial cells of the small intestine contain many mitochondria, and you have to explain the reason for this for 2 marks. Remember that the command word explain requires answers given in full sentences. To answer this question, you need to recall the function of mitochondria. Remember that these organelles are the site of aerobic respiration. This will provide energy or ATP for the active transport of digested food molecules. Avoid the common mistake of saying that energy is produced. Remember, it can only be released. Note that underlined words and mark schemes must be included in order to gain the mark. The second question requires you to apply your knowledge to an unfamiliar scenario, so this may be a bit tricky. You are given information on celiac disease, and you must explain how it will affect absorption. Remember to always read the information given very carefully, as this will often guide you towards an answer. We are told that cells of the immune system will destroy villi in the small intestine. Have you made the connection between fewer villi and the effect of that on absorption yet? We know that villi will increase the surface area for absorption, so fewer of them will therefore lead to a decrease in the surface area of the ileum or small intestine. Less surface area will result in a corresponding decrease in the rate of absorption from the small intestine. Don't be intimidated by application questions like this one. Look past the unfamiliar scenario and find the familiar keywords in the question stem. So, in summary, absorption of digested food molecules occurs in the ileum of the small intestine. Adaptations of the ileum for absorption include its long length, a highly folded surface, and the presence of villi. Structural adaptations of a villus that further facilitate absorption include the presence of microvilli, having a thin wall, being well supplied by a capillary network, and having a lacteal present for the absorption of fatty acids and glycerol.